Well, welcome to the LNER Stadium. This is where the York Valkyrie lifted the Betfred Women's Super League trophy for the first time in October, and now we're ready to do it all over again. We're at the season launch here in York, and we'll be speaking to the stars of the show in this very special episode of The Last Tackle. Yeah, the York Valkyrie are the reigning Betfred Women's Super League champions, and I'm joined by one of their stars, and of course, the reigning Woman of Steel, Sinead Peach. It's felt like quite a long off-season. Can you still remember what it felt like lifting that trophy here?
Oh, for sure, I won't forget that feeling. But yeah, it's been a long pre-season, starting back in November, December, I think we did. So yeah, we're raring to go this year for sure, and yeah, can't wait to get the season started.
And in terms of your preparations, you said it's been a long off-season, a long pre-season. Has much changed, or has it just been continuing on from where you were?
I mean, yeah, we've had some staff leave, we've had some staff that we've gained, lost players, gained players, so there's been a bit of movement around that, but, you know, we're in a great place at the moment. We've had a great pre-season, as I say, so we're bonded as ever as a team, and yeah, we're raring to go for the season.
And the competition, obviously, it's moved into an 8-team Betfred Women's Super League this year. You're going to be playing a lot of games. It's a long season. Does that kind of bring an extra aspect of kind of longevity and fitness needed into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, every single year it's going strength to strength, and we're under no illusion that it's going to be even harder this year to retain them titles. So we've been training harder than ever. It's an amazing thing that there's more teams involved in the sport. That's what the girls want. You know, we want more games, we want more competition. So it's going strength to strength.
Previously, when we've been having these conversations before the season, we've kind of been talking about yourselves, St Helens, Leeds in a kind of a three-way battle. It kind of feels like that might be extended out into 4, maybe even 5 teams this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're going to go in strength to strength. They've got a great coaching staff now, and yeah, I mean, last year at the end of the season they were showing real competition, and I think, you know, they've had a great pre-season this year, and they'll go strength to strength. They'll be one to watch for sure.
It was obviously a great atmosphere for that grand final here last year. We saw the Betfred Challenge Cup final played at Wembley for the first time. That's obviously happening again. Having a taste of playing in that grand final, does that give you kind of a hunger for more, and having a taste of winning it, of course?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're raring to go again, and, you know, that feeling, you know, it's not one that we don't forget, and it's one that's, you know, you want to keep it coming. So, yeah, definitely looking out to do that, but we want to take every game as it comes and set our own boundaries and set our own targets as a team, and just keep moving forward and improve on each performance.
And individually, obviously, an incredible season for yourself last season. Woman of Steel, how long did that take to sink in?
Oh, I mean, it's still a pinch me moment sometimes, but yeah, amazing feeling, and you know, I was so honoured to receive that award. But I had an amazing team, you know, behind me that supported me all the way. So yeah, just thanks to them really. But yeah, it's been a great pre-season, and we're looking forward to start the season this year and to get going again for sure.
You said you had obviously a great team around you, and you did to win that Woman of Steel trophy, but does that almost make it even more of an achievement because the standard already just in your team alone is so high, but also in the rest of the league?
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, rugby league is a team sport at the end of the day, and obviously that is a single honour of getting the Woman of Steel. But you know, it's cliche to say, but my position is surrounded by the forward pack. I can't work off the back of them if they're not performing, if I'm not performing. So it's a team game at the end of the day. So yeah, it's amazing to have so many special athletes in our team, and you know, that's how we keep improving and we keep pushing each other's boundaries and making each other better. So hopefully we can do that again this season.
I'm just wondering what the chat's been like amongst the players, if there has been any, about international rugby league as well, because we start off this season with a bit more of a calendar in place. There's a talk of an Ashes tour on the horizon. Does that kind of give you almost not a deadline, but something to work towards in terms of catching up to where Australia and New Zealand are, perhaps?
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's great vibes in the England camp. Stu Barrow's an amazing coach, and he's really bonding all the girls together. There's not many cliques there at all. When you all come and you're England, you won. We've had some really good training sessions this year. Some more people added to the squad. We've had some more people from York who's got their call-ups, which has been amazing to win their season last year. So they're obviously fighting to stay in the squad and carry on and look forward to their Ashes tours and look forward to the World Cup in a couple of years.
Progress. We're told you make it inch by inch.
Achieved through hard work over time.
But we're here to break down the doors.
Our route to this point hasn't been straight.
Do you see how distraught the York Valkyrie players are?
But believe me, we're climbing.
Leeds are right on the line, and now they're going to dive over.
We're more than making up the numbers.
But the numbers we make up are growing. More girls than ever picking up a ball.
More teams than ever fighting for the title.
We're signing contracts.
We're climbing the steps to glory.
So here comes St Helens there, making that journey up the steps.
History was made last year,
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
and we've got so much more to make. Unfiltered ambition.
If there's a picture that shows you what rugby league's all about, that might be it.
Undeniable talent.
And Beavers will not be caught from here. Caitlin Beavers, what a way to start the second half for Leeds Rhinos.
Unmatched desire.
York Valkyrie, Betfred winning Super League champions for 2023.
When we reach the top,
And look back at how far we've come.
we'll realise just how far we can go.
Yeah, what a season it is shaping up to be in the Betfred Women's Super League, and alongside me now from St Helens, professional rugby league player, Vicky Whitfield. Have you got used to that yet?
Not quite. I think it's going to take a little while to settle in. But yeah, what an announcement from Saints.
What was the kind of feeling like when those talks first started and it started to feel like it was a possibility?
I think it was obviously exciting. It was exciting to see that the club was following suit of obviously Leeds and York. And I think, as a player who's played since I was 11 years old, it's something that I never really dreamed of. So for it to be in talks and to potentially happen, it was, really exciting.
Leeds and York, as you've said, kind of led the way with it, but it's a real kind of, I guess, statement of where Betfred Women's Super League is going as a competition, that now there's 3 teams and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, definitely. And the general feel is that this year is going to be bigger and better than the last and, the years before that. So, yeah, for us to be competing with the other teams on the off-field stuff, it's really exciting to see.
And we'll touch on last season. Obviously, Wembley, the highlight for St Helens. Is that the ambition again to get back?
Yeah, definitely. I think, it was an amazing experience for all the girls and something that when I retire, it's going to be one of those memories that I'll, look back on and think, oh my God, I actually did that. So it's something that we're aiming for again. We set the bar high at St Helens. We don't shy away from it. And yeah, Wembley's definitely something that we're aiming for.
And a few years ago, we were obviously talking about Saints as treble winners. Before that, we've spoken about Castleford as treble winners. But it feels like it's getting increasingly hard to kind of fire on all 3 fronts because of how competitive it is now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, this year, who knows, we could have more teams that are, putting their hand in and saying, actually, we're here to spoil the party. So, and that's what we want. We want competitive fixtures every week, and that's the aim. So, yeah, can't wait to see how the competition heats up.
Yeah, one of the really interesting narratives I think about this season is that the progression of Wigan means that it isn't such a big 3 anymore. It's potentially a big 4, but also for you guys, that derby becomes really significant, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, derby day is very important to us anyway at Saints and Wigan. But like you said, if they become more competitive, like they were in that 2018 season when they kept beating us, I think, it'll be something really entertaining to watch. So yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that 2018 season. People talk a lot about the kind of progress, and a lot of that talk is off the field and the TV coverage and events like this. But in terms of the rugby league side of it and the football side of it, how much it almost feels like the game's a little bit unrecognisable for even back then.
Yeah, I mean, like on a personal note, like I'm not recognisable from that season. You know, I've changed so much as a player and as an athlete since that season. You know, I think off-field stuff has developed so much. So your S&C, your nutrition, all the off-field stuff that, you know, in 2018 the infrastructure just wasn't there. And now, you know, like at Saints we get medical cover, and you know we're looked after S&C across all teams, and nutrition as well. So yeah, it's come on leaps and bounds since then.
Yeah, obviously the payment side of it will take the headlines in that professionalism chat, but I guess all the stuff that comes with it, as you've mentioned, the medical cover and just the general way that it's approached, I guess that makes it feel like a much more professional environment in itself as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, I obviously experienced in 2019 my ACL. You know, I had to go through the AHS, had long waiting times on surgery, things like that. So I recently had a clear out of my knee, which went through medical cover through Saints, and the difference between that experience and the one I've had more recently is just the stark contrast to each other, and it does make you feel more professional. Like you said, like payments are great, but actually the off-field stuff like medical cover, like S&C, like nutrition, they're the things that make you an athlete, and they're the things that really matter at the end of the day.
So 2024, obviously coming into it as Betfred Challenge Cup holders, but I guess the real desire is to get that Super League trophy back as well.
It is indeed, and I think obviously a bit heartbreaking for us in the semi-final last year against Leeds in the Golden Point. So we're really looking forward to getting back to obviously semi-finals and cracking on and getting into the grand final.
You're watching the Sportsman Rugby League. Subscribe for weekly shows, exclusive content and live games.
Well, of course, there were so many storylines last season. Leeds Rhinos beaten in both finals, and someone who wasn't involved in that team, but is in the amber and blue now. Shona Oil. Shona, exciting for you to be in these new colours?
Very exciting. I'm very excited to be back in Yorkshire. But yeah, ready to hit off with the season.
How excited are you to be spending generally less time on the M62?
Massively, and I don't want to take anything away from the Saints. They're absolutely amazing. The coaching staff, the players were outstanding, and it wasn't the reason why I left for that aspect. It was more of being sat on a motorway for 3 hours after a day's work, a very busy day's work at high school. So my job's amazing. They let me leave early and things like that, but it just wasn't doable. It wasn't a very good life balance, and I need that as well. You know, I've got a little boy, so I need to make sure that I'm also alive for him as well and not as stressed.
That is one of the kind of the lines, I guess, that runs through the Women's Super League, but also even in the men's game at Championship League One level, you're playing at a very high level of rugby league, but also you have a life outside of it, and it just shows the commitment, doesn't it, of the players and the athletes, coaches that are doing those journeys to kind of keep this competition at the level that it is.
Yeah, I completely agree, and and I absolutely love my time at Saints, and I never take anything away from that, but definitely it was very hard, and working full time, having a child, and then trying to be enough availability for my family as well. I think it was very hard, and because it takes a lot out of you. You've got you travel for 3 hours, and then you're training for 2 hours, and you've got to make sure you've got to be there for the girls. I think it was very hard, but love my time at Saints, and that's all I can say.
Back in with an old teammate, of course, Amy Hardcastle, back together, and some real talent right across that Leeds squad. It must have been quite, I guess, almost starting a new school when he turned up there, and the kind of the talent in that squad, exciting. Yeah,
very exciting, and Lois made it very well aware. You work hard for that T-shirt. No one's got their number on their shirt yet, and we've had to work very hard in pre-season to herself and to show Lois that how much we love and we want to do the badge proud. And Lois has got to pick her team end of, and she wants to win. So you've got to make sure you make yourself as available as you can, and make yourself aware that you need to try your best if you want a starting shirt. So that's what I felt.
Obviously, 3 trophies on the line across the season. They've been pretty well spread out across St Helens, Leeds, York over the last few seasons. It seems like it's kind of really difficult for one side to establish themselves as top dog in this competition.
Agreed, and I think that's very exciting as well, and hopefully more will come through. Like Wigan at the moment, I think it's going to be very exciting for them this season, and we want more and more teams to come through. We want more competition. We don't want, a 100-0 game. We want it to be like, a really small win, really, in terms of scores. And I feel like if it's tooth by tooth and back-to-back tries, I think it's very exciting.
You mentioned Wigan coming through. It's an 8-team comp this year. There are going to be some teams that are maybe a couple of steps back in kind of their journey, but it does feel like this 8-team competition, this line that's kind of drawn now, is the beginning of another chapter of progress and another chapter of this division becoming as competitive as it ever has been.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's just the brilliant work that the girls and Tom have done in the background. You've got Amy at Halifax, she's currently coaching the girls there. You've got Jodie going in and out of teams. You've got Emily, who was at a school, as a sports teacher. We're constantly talking about it. No question is silly. We will answer you no matter what about rugby. We'll love it. We thrive off it. So 18 teams is absolutely amazing. I think it's very exciting. And, the more and more teams come through, the better for all of us going forward.
And just looking within that league, in Rugby League, we talk a lot about the whole derby, St Helens, Wigan, stuff like that. But there's some really interesting kind of narratives in there between like yourselves and York and yourselves and Saints and those two as well. It feels like, I don't want to call them grudge matches, but they feel like there's a lot of emotion in those games.
Absolutely. Did you watch the game against York last season where Jodie and Emily got their face smashed up, Grace Field and things like that? I think we put our bodies on the line, and we do that because we love the sport and we want to show the fans and show to ourselves that this game is absolutely amazing. Women are showing, these people that don't agree with women playing rugby or any kind of physical sport, come and watch a game of rugby league and you'll absolutely love it and you'll keep watching it.
And I know you all have been asked this so many times in the last 18 months. People are going to keep coming back to it. Wembley, it's there. It's amazing. That must be something straight away as soon as you're in day one of pre-season. Kind of pin that on the wall. That's where we want to be.
Absolutely. We did it last year with Saints, and we did come off win against Leeds, and I want to do the same again against whoever will get into the Wembley competition, and I think it's very exciting. I just feel like myself, I'll always put my body on line. I'll always lead by example, and wherever it will take us, it will take us. But I feel like we've got a very young and exciting squad at Leeds. We've got Caitlin, Casey and Arse. We've got Ruby at full-back. I think it's just going to be so exciting. You've got strike players such as Amy, Grace Field in the middle. You've got young ones coming through. Bella Sykes from Huddersfield. She's going to be so exciting. Bella is one of the girls that, who absolutely deserves everything that comes to her because she works so hard, and I'm going to be excited to watch her this season.
Shona, thank you for joining us. 3 trophies on the line, Wembley, grand finals, and of course we'll be bringing you more live games from the Betfred Women's Super League right here on the Sportsman. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Sportsman.
Towards the corner and scoring in the corner. He is going to score in the corner. That is a remarkable finish.
Goes for the corner and Leah Burt's in.
Partington all the way to the line.
And it's Tamsin Renew. The pass from Holly Dodd.
London are going to get them a touchdown right through the post. Can they get on the end of it? Yes, they can. He's gone for the same ball and it's going to work. Beautiful. It's going to be able. Is he able to strike one through the post? He might score the winner. Brings it up to the line, drops it off to Hazard, who reaches through. Now it's on, perhaps. He's got it.
Yeah, we're continuing our build-up to the start of the Betfred Women's Super League here on the Sportsman, and alongside me now from the Wigan Warriors, Rachel Thompson. And Rachel, there's a real sense of excitement and intrigue to this season, isn't there? Because it kind of feels like the status quo might be broken a little bit for the first time in a while.
Yeah, it does. You've probably hit the nail on the head there with how it feels. The build-up, the whole competition, having 8 teams now is massive, and it's not just having 8 teams in a league which we've had before. It's having 8 teams that can compete. And every week you've got to turn up and you've got to compete, and that's massive for the game because it hasn't always been there. Even when you've been playing at the top, there's only been 1 or 2 teams that you really are competing with, and now it feels like the whole competition is a competition, and that's what's bringing a bigger audience, and which is, why I see so many people here today, which is really exciting.
And certainly from the outside looking in this season, it felt like Wigan made some real strides forward. Was that what it felt like on the inside as well?
Yeah, it did. We have a very young squad, and I think what last year did for them was make them realise that they can compete with the best. We've got to find a way to win against the best, but we know we're up there and we know we're competing. And for them, it's just they're a year older now, and they've got that experience, and it's really exciting to see where they can go with it. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Talking of experience, Dennis Betts obviously coming into the fold as your new head coach. What's life under him been like so far?
Yeah, it's been different. Like you said, he has years and years of experience. Without trying to sound too much of a cliche, he's been a little bit of a breath of fresh air for the team. The girls have got massive respect for him. He knows what he's talking about, but he also, he's learning as well, and we're learning from him. And it's just that constant. We're all trying to improve. We do ask a lot of questions, and things that he's not used to. But he's learning every day, and we're learning from him, and that's what's exciting.
The structure of the women's season is interesting because obviously the Challenge Cup group stage is first, and then into Women's Super League. But of course, Wembley kind of always looming large on the horizon as well. How do you kind of go about keeping yourself focused game at a time?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We've only played one pre-season game, and then you're straight into the Challenge Cup. I guess it's not knockout rugby like the Challenge Cup is for the guys. So you can afford to make a couple of mistakes here or there, but you do want to win. You want to be in the best position to get to Wembley, like you said, because that's ultimately one of the biggest prizes this year. Just to even play at Wembley Stadium, so you've got to be focused. You've got to be focused from the second that the game kicks off of that first game. So it puts all your focus onto that. But we're really looking forward to it, and we're ready to go.
And an 8-team competition this league, this season, as you mentioned, does that make it a kind of a different kettle of fish as well? Because you play, I guess, a bigger variety of sides.
Yeah, definitely, and it's the unknown a little bit. You don't know what you're going to face week to week. The game's not predictable, so you've got to be sort of on the mark every week, and that's exciting for the game especially. And it's more games. We want to play more games of rugby. We'd play every week if you let us. Well, the younger ones would. My body's breaking a little bit more now. I'm happy with the rest, but no, it's exciting.
Well, best of luck this season, Rachel. Wigan Warriors, of course, looking to upset the apple cart in 2024. Yeah, as we've been talking about, a brand new look to the Betfred Women's Super League this year, an 8-team competition. One of the teams looking to get themselves towards that top end of the table, of course, Huddersfield Giants. Beth and Oates alongside me now. There's a real excitement about this, isn't there? About what this competition is going to be like this year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to that there's 8 teams, ever since obviously I've been playing in the Women's Super League, it's only been 5 and then 6. So I'm really excited to see the variety of clubs, and obviously us going to different clubs as well, and more of a competitive season.
There's been a lot of headlines about some of the things that have happened at the likes of St Helens and obviously York making good progress, but kind of quietly, maybe slightly under the radar. There's been some really good kind of things sounded like they're coming out of Huddersfield as well.
Yeah, so this season we've been taken over by the club, as before we were with the Community Trust, so that was a massive stepping stone there. We've got great medical this season, full-time physio, which we haven't had previous. Myself and Amelia have been given a contract this year as well. Amelia's got a 2-year contract. So things are looking really bright at Huddersfield. We've had a really good pre-season, we've got more players coming in, more eager players, willing to work for each other, which is exactly what we need this season.
In a way, does that kind of change in format and also that change in kind of ownership make it easier to bring new players in and kind of sell them the dream, I suppose?
Yeah, so it's like I was saying earlier, it's about people going, oh God, did you see Huddersfield this weekend? Or look how much Huddersfield have progressed, or look what Huddersfield are doing. We want people to be talking about us, which gives that publicity, which then makes players think, oh, do you know what, I'd love to go play for Huddersfield.
And there is a blueprint, I guess, if you look at the Yorks of the world, to kind of get yourself up the ladder and establish yourself in that top 3, 4, make it a top 5. Where are you kind of looking to really progress on the field this year?
I think we've first started off with the culture. The culture's got to be right. If the culture's not right, game days when they're going wrong, people tend to go off by themselves. There's not really that team spirit there. So this pre-season, we're really focused on getting that culture right. And I think we've definitely got that during the last 2 pre-season friendlies that we've played. We've set a real good platform for ourselves. We want to compete. We want to win them winnable games and then compete against the top 3, 4 teams, and try and fight for that 4th place.
And the word progress is being used a lot in terms of the women's game, and there definitely has been progress. But for you, can you kind of pinpoint what it is that's changed and developed over the last couple of years?
I think for me personally at Huddersfield is getting backed by the club. That's definitely progressed us this season. The seasons before, struggling for facilities and having to book facilities and not really having that full pre-season hard work, willing to compete. I don't think that's really been there for Huddersfield. But this season, obviously, with the club taking over, we've had a lot better facilities. And I think overall within the women's game is getting that into them 8 teams. Gives so many young and obviously old players a massive opportunity to compete, because no matter what team you are, there's someone in there that you're able to compete against. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And with the structure, the way that it is, that those group stages of the Challenge Cup kind of, I know you were taking it seriously, but I guess the nice thing about that is that by the time you hit round 1 of the Betfred Women's Super League, all of those 8 clubs have almost had kind of the same preparation. Yeah,
100%. I think as well, the teams that are in the Super League also coming in and things like that. And for us, we get 3 games in hand before we even face the Super League. So it's, like you said, it's great preparation for us, for all teams really, to have them stages. But I do think there's a little bit of disadvantage there. You get into the group stage before you've had any competition games from the league, and sometimes obviously teams develop throughout the season more than they would throughout the group stages of the Challenge Cup. So there's advantages because you've got that, but also I believe there's a few disadvantages, especially if there's a new team coming in with new players. You're kind of finding your feet in the first group round stages.
What's the ambition for Huddersfield?
To compete. We want to. The way the women's game's growing and the way it's going, we need to compete. If we want to be one of these top teams, we need to show that we are able to do that. So having a good pre-season, coming into the group stages of the Challenge Cup, hitting that quarter-finals, potentially aiming for top 4 within the Super League, that's what we are aiming for.
Well, Prevent, thank you for joining us. A hugely exciting build-up to this season. We are just weeks away from the start of the most competitive Betfred Women's Super League ever. So there we have it, the stars of the Betfred Women's Super League in the starting blocks for the new season, and the race to the grand final starts now.